Hi everyone, Peter here from Flow High Performance, and in this video, we'll be covering if we should really be implementing testing days for athletes and how we can monitor athlete progress. In a typical strength and conditioning program, athletes are tested before a training program and then after a training program. Sometimes athletes are also tested midway through a program too. However, the commonality here is that coaches implement specific times of the year to test an athlete's performance. For example, we may test a group of athletes before preseason begins and then at the end of preseason to see the change in performance. Coaches may also implement testing at the end of the season to see if athletes were able to maintain a good condition throughout the season. This can be useful for athletes and coaches because it gives a general idea of what condition athletes are in at different times during the year. However, there are a few issues with testing performance on specific dates of the year. The first issue is that an athlete's physical performance can vary on a day-to-day basis due to acute fatigue levels. Therefore, a single day of testing may not provide an accurate representation of their physical performance. They may be in a higher or lower fatigue state at that particular point in time, which may hinder performance or allow them to perform at their very best. On a fatigue-sensitive test like sprint speed, small levels of fatigue can impact performance. Since improvements in sprint performance can be as little as 0.1 seconds, one-off testing is not a reliable indicator of performance. The second issue with irregular testing is that it tells us information that we already expect to see. For example, if we test the players on the first and last week of preseason, we obviously expect them to be in better physical condition at the end of preseason. This doesn't give the coach or athletes any useful information, it simply tells us what we already know will happen. And the last and most important issue with testing is that it doesn't actually give us any real-time feedback to change a training program. If we test athletes at the start and end of a program, it is too late to change what we can do. So if athletes haven't improved their performance after a training program, then we cannot go back in time to change what we did. So we have to wait until the next program to make our training protocols more effective. So rather than irregular testing throughout the training year, it may be a better option to monitor performance regularly throughout a program. This can be simultaneously conducted during training sessions, so it doesn't take away any time from training. For example, we can set up timing gates for sprint training to test sprint speed. So as athletes are performing their sprint training, we can see how fast they are running and can make decisions with that information. So what benefits does monitoring training have over testing? The first major benefit is that we can establish long-term trends in performance. So rather than relying on a single data point, we can use data over weeks and months to see how an athlete's performance is changing on average. The second benefit, and arguably the most important, is for athlete buy-in. If we give athletes numbers on how they are performing, then they will usually be more competitive and put in more effort during the training session. The next primary benefit monitoring has is to give in-session feedback so that the coach can make informed decisions about that particular training session. For example, if we are able to time an athlete's sprints, we can see when their times start to drop and we can cut the sprint training there so we aren't training in a fatigue state and we are still training pure speed. And the last benefit monitoring performance has is that it allows us to adjust training based on how the athletes are responding to the program. If an athlete is consistently improving performance over time, then the training program is probably working well. However, if they aren't improving performance, we may need to change some elements of the program to make it more effective. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you got something out of this video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already.